So one of the questions we probably all want to know is, how do great players hit great shots? And it's not by fluke that they do it. They have a process every single time that they go through that helps them get a better chance of hitting those good shots. So let's go through that process today in this lesson and find out how they do it. So guys, we're down here at North Wales Golf Club and we're on the 15th hole, and we're going to go through two stages of the process. Then we're going to move up to the green and we're going to go through the next two stages there. And it's something I believe that pretty much every golfer can do, whether you have a rangefinder, whether you have a GPS, or you've got a course yardage map, or even looking throughout the golf course and knowing your surroundings as you're out there. You can do pretty much all of this process. And the first thing that we need to understand is, whenever we get to any golf shot on the golf course, how far is it from A to B? Whether it's a 10-foot putt, whether it's a driver down a fairway to try and come short of a bunker, or whether it's like my second shot here into the green, I want to know how far that shot is. So the first part of the process that we've got to understand is that when we get to the golf ball, I want you to go through these questions. And that first part of the process is, how far is the shot I'm about to face? Because that ultimately is going to lead into our club selection. If I stand there and just pull any club, how far do I know it's going to go? I need to know how far that pin is to get the right club out of my bag. Hopefully you will know your yardages by now, and then you can start to equate the distance we're going to hit to a specific club. So here now on the 15th hole, I've got 165 yards to go, and I'm going to pull my 7-iron. The reason for that is because also the wind is into me. So that is the second part of the question. What are the conditions like? Because 165 for me normally is actually an 8-iron. So if I were to hit my 8-iron normally from this spot now, it would actually pull up short. But because I've done part one of the process, I found out how far it is, then I've done part two of the process, I've understand what the conditions are like, I can now actually factor in that I need to go a club longer. It's a little bit colder, the wind's into me a little bit, so it's going to be playing that slight bit longer. So I'm now going to hit my 7-iron on this par 4 here now. So let's see how we go with this one. I would go in, I've got the distance, I've understood the conditions, and I've selected the right club for it. And that one looks pretty decent now. I think it's found its way just up onto the front of the green. Let's head down towards near the green and find out part 3 and part 4 of how great players hit great shots. Okay, so we're up at the green and we're going to answer questions 3 and 4. We've covered how far it is, we've covered what the conditions are. Now the third one is, what is the lie like? Because that ultimately is also going to dictate our ball flight. All a great player is doing is really trying to control their ball flight, and they do that by the distance, they do that by the height, they do that by the curvature. And if we can get these questions to answer that for us, it's going to help us hit these great shots. So question number 3, what is that lie like? Because like I say, that's going to dictate how far that ball will go, and also what that ball flight looks like in terms of height and curvature. Now when I'm up at the green here, I've got about 30 yards to the flag, and the land is actually running away from me here. So what that's going to do is alter how the club I select is going to play. So when we've got something that is going down away from us, that's actually taking loft off the club there. So when I've got my most lofted club out now, it becomes least lofted. So from here, a great player would know that they need to actually get more loft to equate for the loft that's been taken off because of the downslope. Then also we see that there's quite a bit of grass around this golf ball, and because it's early in the morning, there's a little bit of dew on the golf ball. So what I'm not going to get from this lie is complete friction on the club face. I'm not going to get that real crisp strike because of that rough in between the golf ball face and the the face and the ball, sorry, and then also that little bit of moisture, the ball's going to release a little bit more than it would do normally when I hit this in. So I'm factoring these things in, all because I've just asked myself, what is the lie like? I know that it's 30 yards. I know that the conditions are a little bit wind into. I know now that I'm downhill out of this rough lie. This then leads me on to my fourth question. Well, what does a good shot look like? Because I know here, when I look up at this flag now, there's actually a little bit of a raised slope up towards the green. So when we think of a great shot, we think of one that could be stone dead, a little tap in from here. But to do that, that would be a worldie of a golf shot. A great golf shot would probably actually look about 10 feet by this flag because of those things that I've factored in now, the downhill lie, that little bit of moisture and that slope. A great shot to me is looking like something that pitches 3 or 4 feet up on top of the slope and then releases a little bit beyond that flag. So I've already set my expectations out to hit this ball 10 feet by. If I get it inside 10 feet, I've hit an absolute worldie. So also a great player knows that they're not putting unnecessary pressure on themselves when they are playing those shots. They've factored in these 4 questions and it's given them a good idea of what to expect when they hit this shot. So if they don't get it to 3 foot, they're not going to be raging with themselves, they're not going to be mad. They'd be pretty happy if they did get it to inside 10 feet. So I'm going to factor it in. I've got my 58-degree wedge. I know that it's about a 30-yard pitch here, so I know how far I should swing that. I'm expecting to land it about 2 feet in front of the flag and then let it release a little bit on. So let's give it a go. Just gone a little bit too much there, and that's probably me being too generous on myself, but I'm not overly disappointed with that. If I could play another one and just try and get it a little bit closer, I know what to expect now. It came out a little bit better than I first thought, but what I've done is allow myself to equate all these things in, and there's a shot that we want. It's about 6 or 7 feet right of the flag, all because I've asked myself those questions. So guys, that's how great players hit great shots. They go through that process. They ask themselves those 4 questions. If you can do that, you can start to hit great shots. You don't need the best swing in the world. You just need really good processes and let your swing evolve with that. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson this week. If you have, do hit that subscribe button down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next lesson.